In this little video clip, I'm going to show you how to put in the sleeve differently. I had a comment, somebody said, can you please show us how you would do it if you didn't use binding or overlocking and you got a really clean result. So that's what I've done here. It means you have to put the sleeves in separately, and that's what we're going to look at now. I've also decided that I would show you how to create this nice little overlap over the ruffles, so it looks like almost like she's wearing like a little blouse underneath it that comes over the top here, peeks out there and peeks out at the bottom. So this is a really nice option as well. Let's get started. So let me show you how this is done. You can clearly see the lining is shorter than the upper material. The first thing is the same as ever, we're going to close the sleeve. Now here I'm going to show you how to achieve this little trick. And what it is you've got the 3/4 length with a ruffle. That's what we're using, but we're wanting it to overlap a bit. So basically, think about it like this. We're going down 2 centimeters. That is the overlap that you can see from the outside. So that's to there, right? And then it needs to come back up when it's folded up, and it needs to go 1 centimeter further, so we have a seam allowance. So that would add 3. So you need to go another 3 centimeters down. To here. I'm going to draw across here. I'm going to cut it off here. So now I'm going to fold it on that first line here, like that. Fold it over. And when I'm going to put my ruffle underneath it, and this ruffle is going to be attached here, right? So this is how it's going to sit. And then this is all ruffled, but the stitching line will go through here, making this here appear as if it's come from underneath, so as if she's wearing a blouse or something. And that's a really neat trick. You can use that with all of your patterns that you've got. You don't need this particular pattern for it, but you need to make sure that the width here is the same. In my case, it kind of like flattens out at that point anyway, because I'm always anticipating doing something like that. So this is straight already. If you're using just the video to make a different jacket, or use this particular technique on a different jacket, make sure that it's actually straight, this here, and that we have the same distance. So sew all of these seams down. Make sure you have a pair. Once you touched your ruffle, for that you want to use the video with a ruffle sleeve. Instead of just leaving it like that, you're actually now going to where your mark was, and you're turning this whole lot in. So I'm just gonna this to the inside so we can give this a jolly good press all the way around. So we're getting a very nice line. So I'm going to have a little sneak peek in here. Make sure that it's all even Steven all the way around. And I'm going to pop it onto my sleeve ironing board. I'm going to give it a jolly good press. Really good press. It's a very, very sweet way of doing this. Actually, it looks really nice. Now we've done this, we know where that line is. We're going to bring out the ruffle now, but we're not pulling it down. We're leaving that crease right where it is. We just want the little ruffle. So just stay in there where it was. And I'm now going to pin this so it can't go anywhere all the way around. You can see the effect this has. It looks like it's actually inside the sleeve, right? So she's wearing a blouse underneath it, and it just kicks out the hem. That's so nice. Right, now it's just the right amount, and it looks like this little floaty little sleeve that just tucks out from underneath. I think that's very cute. So that's another way of doing this, and what we now want to do is just stitch in here parallel to the edge. It's going to be awfully hard to see where you have to stitch from the inside in a minute. So the easiest way to do this is to just mark yourself the 2.5 on your fabric all the way along. Like that. My fabric here is really stiff. I think if that was a more floaty fabric, like a little chiffon, that would be awesome. If you use chiffon now, then you need more gathers, almost double the width of your ruffle. I think if you're using chiffon, I think that'll be really nice. So much learning to be done. You never stop learning with sewing. I love experimenting as well. If you're a little bit like me, you're gonna love all these little methods. So now I've marked it. You turn that sleeve, because there's no way you can get this on your sewing machine arm, I don't think. Adult pieces you could, little kiddo ones you can't. And now I'm going to just go in here and follow my line and stitch once all the way around with stitch length 3. To sew this, you probably will have to sew it from the inside. So what I'm going to do is I've turned my sleeve so I can work from the inside, and I'm starting on that seam and I'm going to go all the way around. So you can see here I was able to keep the distance. I don't think this will be even for me, if I hadn't drawn it on there, because you really can't see what you're doing on your sewing machine unless you do it like that or you have a special foot for the distance. I'm going to pop it onto my favorite little ironing board, my sleeve ironing board, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a steam all the way along, and then I can put that sleeve in. I will now put this into the jacket already. I'm not waiting to the end this time. Make sure I've got the front snip. Front snip needs to face the front basically. So I'm going to now put this sleeve in. Now with my sleeves into the outer layer, and you know, checked, they tip nicely forward. I mean, that is a really lovely sleeve. Took a while to design that. All my testers that are watching this, thank you for sticking with me on that. It took me quite a while, but they are beautiful sleeves. Now I'm going to put the lining sleeve in. And the thing is, here, it's quite important to remember that, let me just show you this, pull this out a bit. At the front here, I've seen lots of people do this wrong, right? So they're kind of taking the same side sleeve they've put in there and they try to put it into the armhole. It needs to be the opposite, because of course it's on the inside and kind of mirror image. So do the same again. Make sure that the front snip faces the front when you put it in. And all you have to do is go in here as you would for the other sleeve, so that like one is loose on the one side, and then you put this sleeve in exactly the same way you did the other, so the sleeves both sit loosely inside. So you do what you always do, you find your top snip here, you put that onto the shoulder, then you have the underarm snip, and you put these sleeves in as well. Now I've put both sleeves in, so the outer sleeve and the inner sleeve, which you can see here, goes right into that sleeve. So this is a lot cleaner, of course, from this side. So now what we want to do is turn the sleeve inside out. So it's right there. Let's give you 2 guesses as what we're going to do now. We're going to just tuck this in ever so slightly, and we're going to pin it to the gather we've got, and then we're going to hand stitch this, and we're going to do this all the way around and only tack in a little bit. There is no harm done if the lining is a little bit longer, because then there will be no tagging or pulling. So get yourself a needle thread up and then slip stitch it all the way around. When it's all slip stitched really nicely all the way around, I think it looks so nice. I love this. We can turn the sleeve back to the outside. One of the things that happens when you work both sleeves separately, of course, is that they are loose in here. That's not what you want for a really nice fitted jacket. You also want the seam allowances to push into the sleeve. You never want the seam allowance to sit the other way, because let me just show you this. I think I've done it before, but just in case you don't know what the difference is, that's what it looks like when it goes to the inside, and that's what it looks like when the seam sits into the sleeve. So it's very important to keep it in that position, and now is the perfect time to do this. So I'm just going to make sure that all my seam here is sitting right. If you have a tailor dummy, you can put it over your little dummy where you do all the stuff for your kids. Yeah, make sure it's nice and flat. Put a pin in here. And I go in here, just like that. And I'm going to attach these together. And wherever this ended up being, that's where I attach it, where my pin is. I don't actually say, oh, but it needs to be top on top. No, you want it exactly where it lands. And then all you do is do a few stitches so this can't go anywhere. I'm just going to do that here. It's a very small but quite important step if you are working your sleeves like that. See, that's it. In case you want to attach it in another area as well, all you have to do is make it straight here. Maybe put another pin in, open it back out where your pin is, pick it out like that, take your needle, and just a few stitches connecting both the seam allowances to each other, then they can't turn anymore. So that's it. So this is how you would put the sleeve in if you didn't want it either bound or overlocked. And everything that you do has merit. I think there are so many ways in which you can sew up a jacket. This is just one more way of doing it. And you get a very clean edge in here. It's also looser. I personally think the other method is totally fine for a little jacket like that, but there you go. Somebody asked, so I thought, let's add this to it. And now you know how it's done.